everybody. Hopefully that's better. Let me know in chat. Good to see everyone. Happy Monday. It's a beautiful Monday afternoon. If you're in the U.S., I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. If you're not in the U.S. and you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, yo, what's up, Trickle? I hope your Thursday is really nice, cool, too. Anyways, like I was talking about in chat, we actually have a huge variety of lists today. I'm pretty excited for this one. We've got 4 different detachments through 8 lists. Yeah, I'm stretching it a little bit this week. We're going to do 8 lists. Everyone needs a good Thursday. I can't agree. I can't agree even more. We're doing 8 lists today. We're doing 4 members, and then we're doing 4 non-members as well. One of the lists I think is what's up, Trickle? I appreciate that, man. One of the lists I think is somebody who's like starting out or something. So I'm going to try and lean him to the right way of maybe getting some new units or whatever to hopefully get to a competitive 2K list. I did trick you for a second off of his start, because his start is pretty cool, but he's at we'll see. Okay, cool. Welcome, come on in. Before I get started with our first list, just making sure that it's chilling right there. Beautiful. Look at this. Oh, we are cooking with grease. Dave, great question. Let me answer it in just one second. So this is how the Army List show works. There is a community tab in our channel. And there's just a post in there that says, hey, everybody, please post your list here. Just post your list there, just copy and paste it and put it into that thread. As we go through it, I will, about a day before or the day of, maybe Xenot. I think it was somebody else, but a day before I will delete the list that I'm reviewing. And then and it's just going to tidy up the thread a little bit. If you would like your list to be reviewed a little bit quicker, consider being a member. It's going to buy me and my buddy Zach and Dylan and Mike maybe a coffee. We'll just have one coffee and we'll all share it. But it's a great way to support the channel, and I normally get to member lists the next go around. Now, Dave, for some reason, it is very difficult to become a member on mobile. For us specifically, I'm actually not quite sure why, but if you go onto our channel, there is a link that you can click in our link that says become a member. Or if you go into any of our videos, except this one, because I didn't upgrade. Maybe actually I might have. Let me check real quick. There's in our description, you can click a link. No, sorry, not in this one. So you'll have to go into our channel. Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know. Maybe we need to look into it because even when I'm on my phone, I have a hard time figuring out or managing my members. Okay. Yeah, it's probably best on PC. Let's get into it. All right. So the first one we have Dracoria. If you don't know Dracoria, Dracoria is a real one. He's been chilling with us since day 1 of Wednesday Night Warhammer. So of course, when he was like, I've got a Tyranid list for you, and he's a member, of course, I was like, yes, I'm reviewing it for you, and I'm probably going to review it first on the stream. So here's Dracoria's. And Dracoria is definitely starting us off with a very, very cool list. And I'm excited to review this. I think somebody said earlier on that hoping for more than just invasion. And I agree with you. A little bit of variety is amazing. So this is Dracoria. He says, hey, Jordan, went with Crusher Stampede for strat support and hit bonuses. Generally just think it is a fun balance. And when we're talking about Crusher Stampede, I can't agree more. I think if anything, Crusher Stampede is fun. Is it balanced? It's kind of weird, but I think he's saying that it's competitive, but it is also fun. And I like this. And the title of the list, I don't know if it's aimed at us or if it's just bugs spraying everywhere. Who knows? Welcome, Fire Drake. I'm glad you're here, man. All right, so it's Crusher Stampede, of course. So let's look at our characters. We've got Hive Tyrant. This is the loadout that I like to use with the Heavy Venom Cannon and Bone Sword Lash Whip. We have a Narrow Tyrant, and we have Old One Eye right here. Cool. We'll talk about Old One Eye in a second. We have Double Gargoyles. Very nice. I like it. Biovore, Carnifexes. If you are going to run Carnifexes, I believe in most detachments, probably all detachments, this is probably going to be the setup that you want to do. You want to do the 4 death spitters, 2 on each, and then you want to do just all of the extra guns, which are kind of like random and don't do a whole lot, but oftentimes they also do a whole lot. I don't know. Anyways, moving on, we have 2 exocrines, we have 2 lictors, 2 screamer killers, Doria, you dog, and then we have 2 rupture fexes. Okay, so very cool. I like this already. There's now, and I have his list pulled up on Battles, or not Battlescribe, but the 40K app. It's a very good app if you're new, if you're wondering how to build lists. So I'm going to talk a little bit, and the reason why you don't see Old One Eye and the Carnifexes within Crusher Stampede a lot is because the Crusher Stampede bonus is you get, so of course you're +3 OC immediately, all the time, which Carnifexes are going to be able to gain from, of course. But then the additional bonuses is the +1 to hit and +1 to wound. It's actually very hard to trigger with Carnifexes. So first off, the +1 to hit is almost impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but you can get it. However, in order to get it, because the starting size of the unit is 2 Carnifexes and an Old One Eye, in order to actually get it, you have to have a Carnifex die. So at that point, you only have 1 DAC effects, and then you have Old One Eye, which the DAC effects is hitting on 3s. Yes, that is kind of cool. However, you're already re-rolling hits, and it just, I don't think it ends up being too great. Because you're losing a Carnifex already, and if you're really trying to activate it with a unit and you're hoping for 1 Carnifex to die, I don't know. So this is definitely something that we're going to look at, possibly cutting, and I feel Dracoria's unhappiness about that from very far away. But however, I must say I really actually like the rest of the list. I think Screamer Killers, I think they do a really good job. And yeah, I agree, Pulp. I think the Screamer Killers have a very strong potential in Crusher Stampede, because they're a 2-up save, so they are kind of durable. And then when you hurt them, their blast is going to get a hit on 3s, and their big meaty claws are going to hit on 2s. Which, if you get a Screamer Killer being able to hit on 2s, good lord, that's really good. Okay, so we are going to keep Screamer Killer. What I think we will do, Dracoria, I love the rest of the list. The only thing that I have a problem with is the Carnifex block. So what I'm going to do, I think we're going to try this first. So we are going to first cut. I think we just cut the whole Carnifex block. I'm sorry, Dracoria. Another reason why, and I'll do it in my app just to make sure that I'm correct on points. For Crusher Stampede, for me, I really do feel like our monsters are very efficient, and they just kind of do the things that they want to do. And it's hard for anybody to do anything about them, and they don't want to activate. They actually can't kill all of our monsters all at once. At least that is the hope. So if we cut that whole unit, that brings us down to 1620. Okay. One thing that I definitely think we are missing, and this might be a boring take, and this might actually end the list making very quickly, is we can do double Maliceptor and then a Pyrovore. We could do that, all right? And that would be exactly at 2,000 points, and I think that would be a pretty strong list. Now, if you want to get a little bit spicier, ×2, and then Pyrovore. That would be my first suggestion. And that's so that you have just one additional like action monkey unit right there with the Pyrovore. And then just the double Maliceptors with the Screamer Killers are really kind of cool. And it just allows for them to push up the field a little bit better. Now, here's the thing also. I am actually a big proponent for Swarm Lord in Crusher Stampede. And here is the reason why. Like I've been saying, I said a little bit before how Crusher Stampede we're kind of riding off the back of our monsters' independence, I guess. There's the big old independent bug that don't need no buffs. But if you have Swarm Lord, instead of the Walking Hive Tyrant, then they can just kind of do whatever they want without, you know, without needing the Assault buff. Okay, so if I swap out the Hive Tyrant for Swarm Lord, which he is 240 points, boom, and then that would end up, oop, I'm on the wrong screen, that would end up making the, I already deleted the Pyrovore. The Pyrovore go, and then that brings us to 1965. So we have an awkward 35 points. So let's take a look at what kind of stuff that we could do. One thing that I would think could be good is maybe considering, since we have double Maliceptor now, and we have the Swarm Lord there as kind of like a mid-table bruiser kind of deal. Yeah, exactly, Pulp. Swarm Lord goes where he pleases, and then he does the Vex and he gets you extra CP. I think he's actually really strong in Crusher Stampede. If we cut a Screamer Killer, let's see, the things that I'm kind of wanting to put in is actually a Trigon. I think a Trigon, which would be pretty sweet, because Trigons really, really benefit from the extra OC. Jacoria! Dude, Jacoria, you're here. All right, I'm glad Jacoria's here so that he can tell me how much he hates me for these changes. All right, Jacoria, just as a quick sum up, the Carnifexes plus Old One Eye, they don't benefit amazingly for the Crusher Stampede buff, because in order for the +1 to hit to trigger, one of your Carnifexes has to absolutely die, which is okay. So we did end up deleting the Carnifex package. So I'm sorry, Jacoria. But we did that, and then we did 2 Maliceptors, which I'm sure you'll love. I know, /cry. I agree, dude. And then let's see. And then we switched the Hive Tyrant actually to Swarm Lord. No Moloch stands, please. Yes, I mean, fine. Come on in. But also Moloch stands. So we're at 1965. Yeah, Jacoria, are you speaking in regards to the Carnifex is not triggering for the -1? So here's for the +1 to hit rather. So here's what I think, and let's see what our points are at. If we drop 1 Screamer Killer, I really do like the Screamer Killers. I just think if we have 2 Maliceptors and Swarm Lord, we kind of don't really need it. So if we drop one of these Screamer Killers, boop, and then we put a Trigon instead, that means we are at 1990. And then maybe is there an enhancement I could put on? Oh, yeah. Best enhancement in 40K. We'll put null nodes on the Narrow Tyrant. I don't know. So if we go by that. So Owls Go Hoot. First off, incredible name. I'm happy you're here. Double Screamer and a Neurolictor would be cool. So with units that have multiple models, the starting strength is determined by how many models are remaining. So in order for Crusher Stampede's bonus to trigger, one of the models would have to die, which would be kind of stinky. The reason why I actually like 1 Screamer Killer is because I think Screamer Killers are actually an amazing rapid ingress target. Because they're not super, super fast, but if you're able to put them somewhere where it's really, really annoying for your opponent, then it's going to be really tough. And he can come off the flank, and then he could just come in and do some terrible things. Another consideration we could have is instead of putting the Trigon, we could like do a 3rd Exocrine, and then we could go from there, which I think would be cool too. Jacoria, again, thanks for all of your support, man. I was very excited to see that you submitted a list. I'm happy that you're chilling in chat. Okay, moving on to the next list. Before we do so, if you're liking the stream, consider liking the stream. And the Screamer Killers are also pretty cheap and good for breaking army synergy. I 100% agree. And I was actually talking about how I think they're actually pretty sweet in Crusher Stampede, because with a 2-up save, it's actually kind of durable. And then if you are able to trigger the +1 to hit, then not only are its big meaty claws hitting on 2s, which is just phenomenal, also its blast weapon is hitting on 3s too, which I think is not negligible. So like Dracoria, I actually really liked the core of your list. I think I would just switch out the Carnifexes, and then you kind of think about like where you take it from there. Old One Eye by himself could be cool in Crusher Stampede as well, because he will regenerate and he has the 5 of Feel No Pain all the time. But who knows? Just some things to talk about or think about. And again, thanks for chilling with us. Maybe Psychophage. I really just like the gargoyles. In order to move block for thoughts are thoughts, Dracoria, I agree. In order to move block any scary, like if this list goes into like World Eaters or some list that is going to want to kill a bunch of monsters all at once and is able to, I definitely think you're going to want the buffer of the gargoyles there in order to kind of like block up the area so that you know, you don't want 8-bound to activate first into your Maleceptors or your Screamer Killers for sure. Okay, but anyways, we've got 8 lists, so we're going to keep moving. If you do like the content, consider liking the stream. If you want to be a member and get your army list a little bit more priority, check out our, I think it's on the channel where you can join most of our videos. There's a link as well. For some reason, it's not working on mobile. Okay, our next list, this is Softstuffings 5115, and he's a member as well. Thank you for your support so much. We really appreciate it, man. And he says, so I'm decently new to 40k, but I really like the brain bugs. Me too. The idea is to have the emissaries on a middle and side objective while the lictors infiltrate forward towards the third to apply pressure to it. The Tyrant Squad, Narrow Tyrant plus 6 Zoanthropes, Hive Tyrant, and Termagants move to threaten my opponent's big threats. Hormagaunts move block as needed. Biovore is on home objective with the Narragant web meant to make Cole the Horde annoying and to screen. Parasite of Mortrex and Norn Assimilator in Deep Strike, Strategic Reserves. Assimilator comes out with a +1 charge from Synaptic Imperative and +2 from Harpoon to get 6-inch. Yep, that's pretty sweet. I agree. Parasite comes out with a free Lictor Rapid Ingress to make the Shadow and the Warp better. Okay. Just to clear a couple of things up for this one, I'm thinking maybe he's rapid ingressing the Parasite and then the Lictor. The Lictor's, it has its rapid ingress ability, which is kind of weird because it does not specify even if a different unit has already done it, which a lot of those abilities already do. So from my interpretation, and I think a lot of TO's interpretations, you actually can't do one rapid ingress and then the Lictor. It's kind of like you get the Lictor for free, but then you are not able to also do a different unit. I don't know. So make sure that you're rapid ingressing maybe your Lictor turn 2 and then the Parasite turn 3 or whatever. But I still like the Parasite of Mortrex. I think it's pretty sweet. All right, let's look at his list. Oh, my buddy Kyle just sent me a Tyranid list. I'm just gonna text him. I'm live. Okay, anyways, into the list. This is Synaptic Nexus. I told you guys this is going to be a really good stream with a lot of variety. We have a Death Leaper. We have a Hive Tyrant. We have a Narrow Tyrant. And the Hive Tyrant has Synaptic Control. The Narrow Tyrant has Power of the Hive Mind. Then we have the Parasite of Mortrex with the Dirge. Yes, Dracoria. Yeah, and it's kind of like a, make sure you dot your I's, cross your T's thing. The Dirge Heart of Karis. Now, if people are not familiar, this one, if you're within 9 inches, it makes your leadership worsen by 1, which is pretty cool. I actually really kind of like this because I think the Parasite procs some leadership check stuff. I haven't ran him yet, but oh, what's up, Kyle? That was hilarious, dude. Let's see. Abilities. Yeah, the start of the fight phase, select one enemy unit within engagement range. That enemy unit must take a battle shock test. So you can kind of stack like the -1. If you do like Death Leaper and then Parasite together, then it can kind of be nasty. Here's the thing that I'm interested in is if this guy is also including a Neurolictor, which would be pretty sweet. Okay, So those are the characters. We have a 10-man Hormigaunt, and we have a 10-man Termagants. Then we have Biovore, Lictor, 22 Neurogaunts. There's the Neurolictor we were talking about. 6 Zoanthropes, Norn. Heck yeah. Okay. So thanks for hanging with us, Kyle. My doorbell just rang. I'm gonna let it slide for a second. Hopefully they just leave. But anyways, so immediately what I think we should do is I think we need to cut the 22 Neuro Gaunts. Kyle, if it's you, please leave me alone, dude. Because I think with Synaptic Nexus, there's actually a pretty good argument to kind of lean into this Battle Shock sub-theme and really create some fun things. And it already looks like this guy, the bulk and emotional numbness is great in this list. It already seems like this guy kind of took into mind like the Battle Shock stuff. Like we've got quick order of a pizza. We've got the Death Leaper. We've got Parasite of Mortrex, and then of course the Neurotime, which is going to give an additional -1 when we do Shadows. And then we have a double Neurolictor. If you're unfamiliar with Synaptic Nexus, there's also a grenade strat that whenever anybody fails a Battle Shock test, you spend 1 CP, and then they can immediately they take a bunch of mortals. We will be right back because that person did not leave. So sorry, everybody. Please talk amongst yourselves. Okay, cool. Thank you guys. I think leaning more into that battle shock sub theme, which would really, really allow for this to chug a little bit more. Okay, and I know he did like the Neurogons to screen out his home field. I think there's a couple of things that we can do um, to help with this. Okay, the one thing that I don't like, and this might draw some, I don't want to say hate, but the Norn assimilator combo is actually way harder to pull off than I think a lot of people think so, because I actually played against Kyle one time and he just put his important stuff forward, or not his like screening stuff forward, and didn't allow any of his tanks really to be within that deep strike or that rapid or strategic reserves zone. And then you just have a normal charge roll, maybe a +1 on the charge if you're in that imperative, instead of having the mega awesome +3 to your charge 6-inch, from reserves thing. If you're able to get it off, that's incredible. That's really good for you, and that's really bad for whatever your Norn assimilator is going into. However, if I were to fine tune this list, which I already think it's pretty cool. Who was this again? I gotta find it in my soft stuffings. Okay, I think this list is actually pretty sweet. If I were to fine tune it, I would definitely drop the Norn assimilator, and we're gonna pick up. He's worried about screening, so he has Hormagaunts, Termagants. I think what this list needs is, I hate to say it, folks, I think this list needs a Maliceptor for sure, like hands down. And then so if we put a Maliceptor scepter in its place, that's 170. Then we have 1880 left. That means we have 120 points to play with. I do kind of want gargoyles instead of this. So what we can do is we can delete the Termagants, add and gargoyles. Believe me, I like Termagants, but I think you have to have them in a very specific manner. I don't love just having Termagants just because I had like 60 points left over, So I think that's where we are with gargoyles and Hormagaunts. And then we have 1905, so we have 90 points. Kyle thinks we should gargoyles and add Raveners. So it'd be 75 points. We could do that. Another thing that I'm also not liking is just one Lictor, but I guess it's okay because we have Lictor, Neurolictor, and then Death Leaper. So we actually do have a pretty good number of Lone Ops. So if we did add Raveners, because I do like Raveners, that means we would be at 1980, I believe. And then do we get any cool? No, we don't really get any cool. You know what? I think I almost want just another squad of gargoyles. Oh, Parasite is Lone Op as well. So it's either gargoyles or what would we need to do in order to fit an Exocrine in as well? Okay, call me crazy, but I'm almost like thinking about dropping this Lictor for one of Exocrine. And that is because the Zoanthrope's hitting on 2s, which would be pretty cool with reroll 1s from the Exocrine, as well as the Maliceptor helping, and then both of the Norns always hitting on 2s. So that could be a thing, but my knee-jerk reaction right now, it might be a lame one, in order to round up the 2,000 points, is to just have another squad of gargoyles. And then that would get us at 1990. Not exactly 2K, but pretty close to it. And then I think there's some ideas. Soft stuffings. This is a really cool list, dude. I actually, I'm trying to figure out, I'm playing my buddy Zach tomorrow, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm running. Probably not going to just steal this list, but this is pretty cool. I might actually want to do something like that. So awesome job on the list. Awesome job on letting me put 2 gargoyles in your list. If you haven't already, please check out my unit spotlight on gargoyles. Give it a like. I thought it went pretty well. Okay, next up, Xenotail. I think Xenotail's in chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. 30 people chilling. Thanks everybody for hanging out through the pizza SWAT. But yeah, I'm happy to have everybody. This is Xenotail. He says, just recently got back into 40k and start collecting NIDs. I enjoy creating lore for my armies and telling stories about them. In this case, my NIDs are High Fleet Noxus. That's pretty cool. They spent some time in the warp absorbing a bunch of warp energy, so I wanted to focus on having psychic bugs in my army. Here's an army list I put together from models I've collected to run a Synaptic Nexus detachment in more casual games. In addition to advice for approving the list, I would appreciate some suggestions for what other units would be worthwhile purchases, as well as some general suggestions on who you would run this list. Very cool, man. Thanks for the support. And Xenotail is, of course, a member, and he's in chat. So thanks for being here. Let's get into it. Synaptic Nexus, of course, and I told you guys, man, some really good variety here today, and I'm excited to see it. Death Leaper, Hive Tyrant, with Synaptic Control, Neuro Tyrant, Power of the Hive Mind, and then Parasite. Hey, this looks pretty similar, doesn't it? This is a pretty cool like core of characters. I think this is fun, man. Maybe I should try this. Okay, and then it looks like Xenotail is kind of leaning a little bit. I would assume not triple Norn. Okay, yeah, cool. All right. So we have Gargoyles, Hormagaunts, Termagants. Hello, Lexus from Australia. Amazing. Happy to have you. Thanks for being in here. Okay, cool. So I need to stop saying okay so much. That's a good core. I think this is all right. Let's see if are we exactly at 2K. Yes. Okay. So we've got Barbgaunts, Biovore, Lictor, Neurolictor, 6 Zoanthropes. I think that's all of this. Maleceptor, Norn Emissary, Psychophage, and then Tyrannofex. All right. One thing that I did forget to mention about this guy's list is, in all reality, I would probably swap these guys out for good afternoon, Daniel, for some Tyrannofexes. Tyrannofexes in Synaptic Nexus are busted good because you pop Irresistible Will. They reroll once to hit and they reroll once to wound. With Tyrannofexes, you're going to wound things on 2s most of the time. So if you are rerolling ones to wound, you're going to wound. So I really kind of like Tyrannofexes. All right, so let's dive in. Xenotail, I definitely think it is a good core. However, I do believe there is some chaff in here that I think we could cut. I don't want to say automatically, but I definitely think we can look at some things. So units that I'm not super excited to run right now is the Psychophage, unless we are full tilt into Assimilation Swarm, doing some cool stuff with that. I think it is close. I think if the Psychophage just drops another 5 to 10 points, maybe 15 points, it is just a broken unit, and that's probably why it hasn't. But anyways, and then Barbgaunts. I think Barbgaunts are interesting and kind of creative in Invasion Fleet because there's so many other ways to proc the 6s, doing lethals or sustain. That's pretty cool. And then I don't love the double Termagants because I just feel like for 60 points, we can have units that are just doing the Termagant's job just a little bit better. For instance, I'm going to drop one of the Termagants and then I'm going to put in a Lictor pretty much immediately. So let me make sure we do this. Boop. I really like Termagants when they have when they're like a 20-man blob and you're like creating a kind of a castle. Okay, and you know, everybody's playstyle is a little bit different. If you disagree with me, that is a-okay. So with those changes and with me kind of just creating another Lictor, that leaves us at 1790. So one of the things, good experience with Psychophage keeping the Maleceptor, but I understand. Okay, cool. Yeah. And if the Psychophage is doing really well for you, then by all means, keep it. Here, I really actually like double Tyrannofex in Synaptic Nexus, just because you're really able to do a really good job on triggering the irresistible will a whole bunch. And you can kind of benefit off of that as well. There is also an argument that you take another Maliceptor instead of the second Tyranifex. However, I often feel like one Maliceptor and one Norn Emissary is just incredible just to sit on a point and then just soak up a bunch of fire and just do a really good job. Chief X is a cheaper model for the points. I 100% agree. And I'm actually working on a video right now about how to start Tyranids that I'm excited about. And I talk about the Tyranifex quite a bit in there. And then this might be another boring end to a list. Nothing super flashy, but I think your list was already pretty cool. Regardless, besides cutting out some of those units, we just do 10-man gargoyles. And then we just use the leftover 20 points from my calculations, I believe. And then we just upgrade the Hormagaunts to gargoyles. I think Hormagaunts are really cool, but if you have the extra points to do gargoyles, then you can. Xenotail, yes. Is Exocrine worth it anywhere? I think Exocrine is amazing. If we were to do Exocrine, though, I would probably want 2 of them, and then I would start looking at the Norn Emissary. I think the Norn Emissary is really cool, but I think if we get into like really streamlining and like definitely making competitive lists, I think what we would do, and this would actually be a pretty clean swap, we can get rid of the Norn Emissary and then put 2 Exocrines in. That's pretty good if you do like that, but also that means you're not running your Norn Emissary. And I think Norn Emissaries are really cool. And I do believe that you mentioned that you wanted to do relatively casual games, which is sweet. And I think Norn Emissary is like one of the coolest models to put on the field with in a casual game. I have one that was commissioned. It's beautiful. If you're seeing his name in red, the Exocrine, yeah, me too. I just like, I clench for a little bit. But good thing I think Tyranids are just tanking just enough where I don't think GW will be looking at us too much. Okay, so Xenotail, that's kind of where I'm at. I really like this core of characters that both of these lists had, where it was like Parasite, Neurotyrant, Hive Tyrant, and Death Leaper, and just kind of like jamming stuff up the board, maybe doing some Battle Shock stuff and doing really cool stuff. Yeah, but this is neat. Yeah, you guys are making me want to run Synaptic Nexus again soon. But thanks again for your support, Xenotail. We really appreciate your membership, and it was awesome to look over your list. Okay, moving on. I believe this is the last. Yeah, of course, Xenotail. I believe this is the last member of tonight. I don't know what MIB. Is it the Men in Black? It's the Men in Black. Very nice. Jay Kurtz. I think this is Pulp. I'm not sure. Yeah, what's up, Pulp? Thanks for being here. Synaptic Nexus. Cool. I guess we actually don't have a huge variety. Yeah, Men in Black. We just have Synaptic Nexus. No, we've got a couple of more. I think we got a couple of Vanguard Onslaught coming up. Okay, cool. Characters. We have the Hive Tyrant with Synaptic Control. We have the Narrow Tyrant with the super awesome Flamer. And then we have the Parasite with Psychostatic Disruption. I really like this. Yeah, I was like, lots of variety. Synaptic Nexus. I actually really like this enhancement. I think it's pretty sweet. And I think Parasite with the lone op ability and just being able to kind of do stuff, he's pretty cool. How fast does he move? Does he move 14? Does he move 16? Let's see. He moves 12. I was telling him. I was upgrading him a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay. 12 with fly. Yep. So I mean, he's still pretty fast. All right, let's take a look. So the one thing that I'm not immediately like saying, oh, let's cut it. But the one thing that I am looking at is the Hive Tyrant and Swarm Lord. I just feel like they do serve different roles, but they kind of just run parallel. So I'm like kind of thinking like, do we really need to have both? But let's take a look at the rest of the list and we'll take a look. Oh, and then I love when people do this. Thank you for writing out kind of what you want to do. Okay, so there's the characters. We have 10 Hormagaunts. We have a Biovore. We have 2 Exocrines. We have a Lictor. We have 2 Norn Emissaries. We have Raveners with the Armored Thorax. I think that's the correct choice. And then that's it. See, I like it, but when you have like double Norn and you have double Hive Tyrant, your unit count is just very, very, very low. Oh, and then in zones. Yeah, I must have. Sorry. There we go. Okay. And this is what he says. Looking at taking fixed objective with cleanse and engage. Norns will be doing most of the cleaning. Exocrine and zones to help protect and take care of bigger things. Swarm to help on the middle objective as well with the Vect. I agree, it's very strong. Parasite on the home to help screen and protect Biovore from nasty. Yep. Battle line to help with engage and or move blocking. Lictor, Raveners, and Death Leaper for the same. Reinforced Hive nodes and fallback, shoot, and charge strat will be among my most used. Should be able to keep most things in synapse to make the most of the directives, the imperatives. Yeah, I agree. I don't think that this list is going to have any problems keeping things in synapse at all. Okay, so I like the idea. However, and I know it is tempting because Norns are just going to own whatever objective they're on. Like OC 15 and having such strong durability, it's going to be really tough for anybody to do anything to them besides kind of like wet noodle fight back and forth. However, if you look at how small your unit count is, let me stop doing that. If you look at how small your unit count is, that is something that I would be worried about, is because that means that literally more than a quarter of your army we're just going to dedicate to doing actions every single turn. It can be tough. And I know there's also times where you can just say, okay, Norn's there to get the OC and then maybe the Lictor goes. But if I was playing against you, I would probably try and maybe kill some of your scoring stuff first. Like if you bring out your Hormagaunts, I'm pretty happy to pick them up. And then the Raveners, and then the Lictor. And once you have that, you really don't have a whole lot that is able to do any actions. Can't tell you how many times my Norn has been obliterated turn 2 by a Repulsor Executioner. Yikes. Yeah, and that is another thing. If your Norns die, then it's real tough. Okay, so first thing, if you want to do fixed, that is amazing, and if you definitely, yes, give me 1 second, Xenot. If you're really into doing a fixed objective kind of secondary game plan, I think that is a neat challenge to have, and it can definitely be powerful if you are able to do it right. However, I'm worried about double Norn being able to be the definitive thing that we want in this list. Okay, so I think we have to decide between the Hive Tyrant and the Swarm Lord. And let's see, do we have a Maleceptor? We don't have a Maleceptor. So because of that, I am actually going to lean more towards taking out the Hive Tyrant just because it's a little bit more points. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to take out the Hive Tyrant and just jam Swarm Lord up the field. I want to run Swarm Lord for sure. Okay, things that are really good with Norn Emissaries are Maleceptors. And I think what we do, I hate to say it, and Pulp, if you don't have Maleceptors, let me know, and we can go do a different route. Trying to figure out how to get Maleceptors in the list. Okay, yeah, I think so. We do take out the Hive Tyrant, and then we put 1 Maleceptor, and let's see where our point total is after that. We're at 1905 if we do Maleceptor in. I think that's pretty sweet. Maleceptor, boom, and then we have 1905. Oh, you have 2? Oh boy. 90 points for, 95 points. And then what I was saying before, I would actually really like to put Tyranid in here. Because of the irresistible, because you get to reroll 1s. And it's like, so a really cool combo that you can do is string out these Zoanthropes, and within 6 inches of a 7-man unit is actually very, very wide. So you can touch a lot of stuff. So this might sting. Let's try and cut a Norn. So Sorry. Norn stands are like Moloch stands, I'm sure. And we will put in a Tyrannifex, and let's kind of see where our points lie after that. That's kind of where I would go first. And so that leaves us at 180 points, 180 points. I do think also that what this list could use a little bit more is we need some more action doers. So I would want to, we don't have Neurolictors in here. Okay, sweet. So use the good one, you know? So what we'll do is we will do one Neurolictor. I actually kind of like Neurolictors in Synaptic Nexus, just because of, you know, all of the Synapse shenanigans as well as the grenades thing. Okay, so after we put Neurolictor in, let's see, we have 90 points again. We have the Lictor. I hate that it's like the theme of the day, but if we added gargoyles, I think it rounds out the list pretty good. And then you have a little bit more scoring. Oh, but did we want to try? I think we want to have 2 Tyrannifexes. So if we don't add the gargoyles, maybe we don't. That's tough. I think if we want to keep one of the Norns, I think it definitely gets a little bit tough with points just because they're so expensive. Tyrannifex is also pretty expensive too at 190 points. But in order to kind of keep your list where it kind of was, I would probably just add 1 squad of gargoyles and then maybe just call it a day with that. So just going over it and making sure I have it right, we would have Neurotyrant, Parasite, Swarmlord, Hormigaunt, Gargoyles, Biovore, Excrin, Lictor, Maleceptor, Neurolictor, Norn Emissary, Ravners, T-Fex. I didn't put the T-Fex in. T-Fex, and then rounding it out with his own tropes. Things that I would think if we are, you're fine cutting both? Okay, so sweet. Let's cut both, and then we'll see where we're at. I think Norns are really cool, but like the damage output that Synaptic Nexus is actually able to do is kind of insane when you think about it. Okay, so that gives us 1990 points. Once we cut the second Norn, boom. So that means or 1910 points. So a couple things we could do. And it's kind of your preference at this point. If you feel, if you're feeling lucky with your Neurolictors, you could put another Neurolictor in there. In addition, you could probably add a second Lictor, and that would get us to 1970. And then you could like do something like upgrade these Hormigons to Gargoyles. I feel bad that that's just kind of my advice right now is, oh, you should be running two squads of Gargoyles. But it's so good. Double Gargoyles are very, very good. Dude, Fire Drake, I agree, man. And just looking at these builds is making me like, oh, maybe I play some Synaptic Nexus. But I feel happy with this. I think this would be fun, and I think this would be cool as well. Another thing you can consider is maybe a second Maleceptor. Pyrovore would be good on the list as well. Heck yeah, helped you to beat Blood Angels yesterday. I'm building a Vindicator for my Blood Angels army. But here's the tragedy of building Space Marine tanks. Listen to this. Something's in there, and it will stay. Anyways, okay, awesome. Thank you, Pulp. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for supporting the stream, man. We really, really appreciate it. Let's move on. I think we're on to non-members now. Okay, very cool. So Squidsquisher. This is the guy that I was kind of thinking about at the beginning. He was not exactly, I don't think it was Xenot, but I believe he just said, sure, sounds awesome. Great, thank you. I think he's talking about, he's like responding to my post. Thank you. And I think he did kind of have a misnomer of doing multiple. Whoa, Kyle! Thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Back to work, man. Take it easy, dude. Appreciate the support, man. That's amazing. Cole asks, wait, so why are Maleceptors good with Norns? Okay, so in Warhammer 40k, there gets to be like this critical mass of debuffs that you can put on something where you're basically telling your opponent, you can't go here and you can't kill my things. So if you put a Maleceptor next to a Norn, anything that comes and tries to attack the Norn is going to get -1 to hit if they're in combat or within 6 inches, and they'll get -1 to wound if they are below half. So it's kind of just like stacking this durability of the Norn Emissary with a 2-up save, 4-up invuln, and then 5-up Feel No Pain, hopefully, if you're playing it correctly. And then just stacking a -1 hit or -1 to wound on top of that can do some really, really, really terrible things for your opponent and do some really, really good things for your brain bugs. That's why I kind of like the Norn Emissary is like walking its dog with the Maleceptor. So that's kind of how I like to play Synaptic Nexus if I'm running both of those units, is they kind of walk up the field together, and they're kind of like one of these units. Yeah, of course, Cole. Great question. All right, so getting back to Squidsquisher's thing, I think he put Adaptive Bio on a bunch of units, and I think that maybe he's just a little bit new to the game, which is totally fine. I'm actually very happy that he was able to, submit a list. And then we are going to go ahead and delete this Lone Ripper. I did input his list into here. I think it comes out to 1385. So I do like some things. I do like the what did he put? Did he put invasion? Oh, it is invasion fleet. Okay, cool. So we'll lean a little bit more invasion. I'm not going to talk about cutting anything for his list because I think he's probably playing with the units that he has. So instead of talking about cutting, I'm just going to focus on adding so that he gets a clean 2,000 points and has a strong start. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and up this melee warrior thing to 6 melee warriors. We're just going to make it round, allowing him to use his units a little bit more with the Winged Prime. I think the Winged Prime and a Brick of Warriors is actually really, really good in invasion if you can get them to connect. Okay, so that's the first thing that we would get for you, Squidsquisher. 3 more melee warriors, for sure. The next thing that I would do, I definitely like to run these Tyranofexes in duos, both of them with Rupture Cannon, which would be sweet. So let's try and add Tyranofex with Rupture Cannon. Beautiful. Okay, so that means we're at 1625. Very cool. I'm just going to put Warlord on something so that my app stops freaking out. Okay. And like any other list that I have talked about today, I apologize for the redundancy, but strong armies have strong units, and we use those strong units, So alongside the Hormagaunts, we're going to put 2 10-man gargoyles. And that brings us to 1795. That means we have 200 points to play with. So something that we are kind of missing. Yeah. Zoanthrope seemed like a mandatory upgrade to get the Neurotyrant out of the Neurogaunt squad. I agree. So, I actually kind of like that idea. We can delete the Neurogaunts. The problem is I'm kind of wanting to have a little bit more action doers. So I'm going to delete the Neurogaunts, and I will also delete... Oh, get out of here. Where's these Neurogaunts? Where'd they go? Okay, there they are. So I deleted the Neurogaunts, and I deleted the Barbgaunts. I think Barbgaunts are okay, but they definitely are one of... I know they can do some pretty cool damage, but I think that we just have a little bit of a... We just need to streamline some stuff a little bit. So after doing those cuts, we have 1625. Xenotail, or who was it? Firedrake suggested Zoanthropes. I would not mind Zoanthropes in here. So we'll do a 6-man Zoanthrope squad. I think I'm fine with doing that. Sounds sweet. And then I honestly want to spend the rest of our points, which would be 1895, which would be 105, on scoring units. So we have 1895. There are a couple of things we could do, like this Exocrine. I do want a second one, but I think we're just going to streamline kind of where we are. We're not going to worry about cutting too much. We're just going to add to get up to 2K and then kind of go from there. I think a really easy way, really easy way to get us to 2K would be, you fell asleep in your chair? Man. Is hanging out, would be a Lictor and then a Pyrovore. And then honestly, I think for like adding and making it up a 2K list, I think that would be a pretty good start. I think this would be pretty good to start going into the competitive area. Basically, you're buying a box of Warriors. You're buying 2 boxes of Gargoyles. You're buying Pyrovore, Lictor, Tyranid, and then 6 Zoanthropes. That's quite a bit, but we'll see. I'm also hoping to, what's the right word? Post a video soon on how I would start a Tyranid collection going from the Leviathan box. So that might be something for people who are kind of in a similar spot that he is to kind of look at for the future and kind of go for. But awesome. Moving right along, Fire Drake says I like Barbgaunts, but if I'm paying for a squad of chaff to get the benefits of the Onslaught aura, I want it to be terms with Devours for 20 shots of lethal today. Okay, yeah, that sounds cool, dude. For sure. All right, we've got Weinstrassen Drone. I'm not sure how to say your name. I apologize. But he's on Crusher Stampede, guys. I told you, this stream is kind of like a bunch of bangers. All right, so let's take a look at what he's got. He's got Swarmlord here. And then I think there was somebody that asked a question. Are Tyrant Guard plus Swarmlord viable? Andres, I think they're viable in very specific scenarios. I think they are viable. I just think what I often worry about is the Tyrant Guard are kind of, they're going to be 180 points or something like that, 190 or something. But that's so much points. For oh, you saw your list, Kevin? Sweet. And I'm worried about like Tyranids. We want to be efficient with their units, and we want to make sure that we are activating in a way where we can like out efficiency. In my opinion, Swarmlord is already really tough. He's got a 2-up save for Invuln, and he's got 10 wounds, I believe. Adding Tyrant Guard to him doesn't really. You're making something that's really tough already just super, super tough. So I kind of lend to go away from that. In addition, if there's an absolute blender of a unit that is going into your Swarmlord and Tyrant Guard, they're going to activate off of the toughness of the Tyrant Guard as opposed to the Swarmlord for the entire activation. So there's a chance that your Swarmlord could get wounded a little bit easier than if it was just him by himself. But we're like splitting straws here. I do think an Assimilation Swarm, and this is a build that I want to try. If you guys are fans of Maelstrom Gaming's channel, I feel like he was one of the very vocal ones that pioneered this kind of build where you have Hive Tyrant with 6 Tyrant Guard, and then you have Swarmlord with 6 Tyrant Guard as well. And you just kind of go up the field with this massive brick of Tyrant Guard that regenerate and bring back Tyrant Guard. If you are able to bring back Tyrant Guard with your Swarmlord and have them kind of have a party up in the middle of the field, yes, do that. That is very good. But otherwise, I don't know. I would leave the Tyrant Guard at home. Anyways, back to Crusher Stampede. We have Swarmlord, which I love. Kevin, is this your list or is this your list? I don't know. Let me know if this is your list so we can talk about it. Swarmlord, 10 times Hormagaunts. We have Biovore, Lictor, Lictor, Lictor. Very nice. I love to see that. We have double Exocrine. Very cool. All right, Pulp, thanks for hanging with us, man. I appreciate it. Double Exocrine. We have Maleceptor, Norn, Emissary, and we are on Crusher, right? Okay. Trigon, Tyrannofex, Tyrannofex, Tyrannofex. Woo-wee. This is cool. This is a cool list. I really like it. So 2 things that I'm immediately looking at. I love the Magos. That's you, Kevin. All right, sweet. We'll get you in a second. I really do like the triple Lictor. I think it's very cool. I like the double Exocrine. I like the Maleceptor. I like keen viewers notice I skipped over something. I do actually really like Trigon because of the 3-inch deep strike, and I think they have OC6 when they come down. So just being able to and like make your opponent have a really hard time with controlling objective. I think a 1 of Trigon and Crusher Stampede is very, very sweet. I think it's very cool. And then I love this outfitting of Tyranid FXs. You have the Acid Spray and 2 Rupture Cannons. That's money. That is so good. So this guy can just trundle up the field and overwatch anything that it wants. And it's really tough to take care of because it's a Tyranid FX. It's very tough. And then you got the Rupture Cannons that are just going to do, they're just going to do business. In my opinion, Xenot Tail Trigon, because you're going to be able to really deep strike it wherever you want. And then it's going to skirt around and do snaky things and kill stuff. So I'm a Trigon. I'm not a Moloch stan. Sorry, folks. Anyways, we're going to cut the Norn Emissary because I want more stuff here and I want a second Maleceptor. All right. I think this list is very, very good. However, I think we want more things instead of one big thing. I think Crusher Stampede kind of functions off of sending efficient units out to do their bidding, as opposed to just 1 or 2 big things, because you kind of want to control the board with just this entire wave of monsters, and it's very difficult for your opponent to kill everything. All right, so we are going to cut the Norn Emissary. This stream title should be Cutting Norn Emissaries. It's kind of tough. And this was Weinstrass. Very cool. We're going to cut Norn Emissary, and then I think we do put a second Maleceptor for sure. Because just being able to activate with a bunch of stuff with a Maleceptor would be very sweet. And how many? 2 Exocrines. Now that leaves us at 1885. I did let you keep your Norn. That's right. Yep, I'm not taking everybody's Norn. Again, I maybe it's just like my bias, but I really do think that this list would do well with Gargoyles. I understand that they already have like the triple Lictor, but just 2 squads of Gargoyles would do great. Okay, so I know this is a quick fix, but honestly, it's because I really liked this list, and I really like Crusher Stampede style of play with just Swarm Lord and efficient units just going up the field. So again, this is a quick fix, but honestly, it's because I really liked the list besides the Norn Emissary. So if we go through the list, we have the Swarm Lord, we have 2 10 Gargoyles, we have Biovore, we have triple Lictor, double Exocrine, double Maleceptor, Trigon, and triple Tyranid FX. Some things that I think would be good for us to try and find a space for is, I think, you also have the Rapid Ingress with Lifters. I think Raveners do really well, and Crusher Stampede, believe it or not, because they're just a small footprint unit that is really easy to just deep strike and go places. Like, yes, with the double 10 Gargoyles, you're going to be able to get stuff, and then triple Lictor, you're going to be able to get places too. However, just 1 more squad of something to go somewhere would be really good. Reference your recommendations later, or are we going to need to rewatch the stream later? I think you gotta rewatch the stream later. I'm sorry, Xenot Tail, but that is something that is a good point actually. Kevin says my list is more of a mean list that I tried out and I like how it played. Oh, never mind. His chat went away. All right. Anyways, cool. So we're gonna go on from here. So this is Magos. This is Kevin. Very cool. And Synaptic Nexus again. Maybe I said diversity as in diversity of not invasion, but it's actually just a small number of different things. Before we go on, if you're interested in, liking the stream, just go ahead and click that button right there. Leave me a comment. Tell me your favorite flavor ice cream or something. I don't care. It does help the algorithm. I really like doing these live streams, and I want to send them out to the masses. So if we could help the channel do that, that would be really, really, really awesome. I would really appreciate it. Also, if you want to submit your list, go into the community slot in our YouTube channel itself, and go ahead and copy and paste your list in that post that I have that says, hey, post your list here. Do understand that even though I did 8 lists today, I think, how many lists do I have left? I think I have 2 lists, including, yeah. Okay, so we're getting down the wire here. I do kind of put priority on members. So if you are a member, odds are your list is going to go on the week after that you post your list. But I do always get a mix of members and non-members. So don't worry if you're not a member and you can't afford that. I still want to give you good Tyranid advice. So a lot of things to consider, but honestly, there's 32 people in chat having a great time. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with me. Let's get into this list. We've got Synaptic Nexus, 2K points. We've got another double Tyrant list. Sheesh. Hopefully it's not double Tyrant, double Norn, right? Okay, I'm gonna read through it. Whoa, Daniel! Thank you. Daniel just joined member. Again, members get top of the list and cool W&W logo. I think that's what he meant to say. Yes. We're not WWE, but we're Wednesday Night Warhammer. We have terrible lag. I'm so sorry. Okay, cool. So we have double Hormagaunts, Biovore. Thanks, Daniel, by the way. We really appreciate the support, man. That's awesome. Biovore, Exocrine, Lictor, Maleceptor, Tyrannifex, Tyrant Guard, Zoanthropes. Okay, so this is exactly, I think somebody was asking about this. Now, here's the thing. Kevin or Magos, I like this, if I'm being honest. Kevin, while you're here, are you putting the Tyrant Guard with both Hive Tyrants, or are you putting one of them? Oh, you have to be putting, okay, cool. So the Zoanthropes are going with them. I don't want to cut your Tyrant Guard because I think this is so sweet. And I think one of the reasons why it is actually pretty cool is because of the Armor of Contempt thing. And being able to pop Armor of Contempt on the Tyrant Guard, which gives them kind of the 2-up save that they deserve. Everybody knows that Tyrant Guard should deserve a 2-up save. I think that's sweet. However, for the sake of content, I think we are going to cut Tyrant Guard and a Hive Tyrant. I think this list is pretty sweet. However, we want to kind of, I think if we were really shooting for a straight line, streamlined, competitive, I think one of the Hive Tyrant parties goes. So we're just going to do that, and I'm sorry. If this hurts, look away, please, but we'll do Tyrant Guard. And honestly, I think what I'm leaning towards is I think I want to keep the Hive Tyrant, not Swarm Lord in this instance. And I'll tell you why in a second. Actually, I'll tell you right now. Hey, from Spain. Just put in the Discord and army list. Maybe next week I'm lucky. Love your content. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you joining the Discord. If you could, and I hate to ask you to do this because you already posted it. If you could post it in our community page, I'm just trying to keep everything in the same spot. And I would absolutely love to get to your list as soon as I can. But again, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the Discord. Oh, you're a PhD student and I don't own 12 Tyrant Guard. Okay, so maybe I'm actually helping you out. Let's see, you're a Magos. Okay, cool. So the reason why I want Hive Tyrant to be the Warlord instead, Hive Tyrant to stay, is because of the Zoanthropes and the Maleceptor trundling up the field, because we want to still have the advance and shoot. So we're going to keep it like that. Immediate things that I want to do is I want to add a Tyrannifex, which, oh my gosh, cutting a Hive Tyrant and Tyrant Guard gives us so many points. But I want you to try out the Tyrant Guard, and I want you to come back and tell us how they do. Just a 6-man with Hive Tyrant. Sweet, no worries, Daniel. Thanks again for the support. That's awesome to see. So, because I do want to see if the Armor of Contempt strat is really, really good and beneficial. So that leaves us with 1770 points. And then next up, I think this list is actually going to shake up pretty easy. I think it's going to be pretty good. We go second Maleceptor. If I can spell it, Maleceptor. That's going to be 170 points. Sweet, man. I'd love to see it. And then we are only at 1940. So, Lictor, Hormagaun. Okay. honestly, if we do that, we keep the Tyrant Guard stuff, which is kind of sweet. And then we add one more Lictor. That's 60 points. We're at a clean 2K with that. So let me go over what I have, go over with what you have, and make sure that it is A-okay. So we have Hive Tyrant, Neuro Tyrant, double Hormagaunts, Biovore, double Exocrine, double Lictor, double Maliceptor, double Tyrannifex, Tyrant Guard, and then Zoanthropes. So things that, yes, it does seem like you have to pay a lot for them. I haven't really looked at it too much because I haven't ran Tyrant Guard in this edition. Actually, I think I did in my first game, but you do have to pay quite a bit. Things that we're looking at if we do end up dropping the Tyrant Guard, just gargoyles, but you know what? I don't know. Maybe dare I say, a third Maliceptor or a third Exocrine, which would be sweet. Just things to consider. But again, Kevin, Magos, thanks for the idea. I say don't drop the Tyrant Guard. I say leave them in and tell us how they do. Okay. But thanks again for submitting your list. You own all of those models. Perfect. Hey, run this list a couple of times and tell us what you think. Xenotail, my LGS has a Tyrannifex inside, so guess where I'm heading when I get off work. Yeah, Tyrannifexes are actually really, really good for your money. They're very efficient point-wise as well as wallet-wise. All right. Last list of the stream. Thanks to everybody for hanging out. It's been a great time. Really has been a good stream. And then we're rounding it out with some diversity. See? Vanguard Onslaught. Okay. So this guy, Chaos 1. 2 weeks on since my original posts, I've changed the list a little bit, keeping back the Battle Shock heavy theme. Review whichever two you think is the strongest starting point. And I think I did look at both of them. I just kind of glanced at them. I don't prep too much before stream because I kind of like the changes to come organically. But I did choose this list. So Vanguard Onslaught. What's my opinion on horror specs? First up, my opinion is you have an incredible YouTube name, Chainsaw Biceps. That's phenomenal. But I think horror specs are pretty cool. I think they just have the problem of getting to where they need to be. Yeah, you're welcome. If you're able to connect with the horror specs, it can be really, really sweet. And are they T10 or are they T11? Either way, they're very durable. I think they actually might be T11. The 3-up save is kind of lackluster because everybody's running like Repulsor Executioners or whatever all the time, or Gladiator Lancers rather. T11. So if you have a good strategy to get them somewhere, I think that's awesome. However, I'm not sure I am in love with them too much. But this list, I believe, is running 2 of them. So we'll talk about them and we'll see if we end up keeping them or if we see if we want to cut them for something else. Yeah, I think 2 TFX is a great place. So Owls Go Hoot says, realistically, how much of a detriment is it for a 2K list to end at 1990, 1995 going against a solid 2K opponent? I think it's whatever. I think you're probably fine. You know, sometimes I feel like people fall into a trap of using worse units in order to get an exact 2,000 points, where if you're really happy with the combination of units that you have, I think it's actually better to run 1985 instead of switching a worse unit out for something. But that's just my opinion, you know, and I think it's an edge case for anything. But let's keep grooving. We've got Deathleaper, Double Broodlord, Narrow Tyrant with Hunting Grounds. If you can afford Hunting Grounds on a Vanguard Onslaught list, I would highly recommend. It just does terrible things to Grey Knights, which is great to see. We have Double Winged Prime. I love the Warrior Bond. That's awesome. We have Gargoyles, Hormagaunts, Biovore, 2 10-man G-Sealers, Double Lictor, Double Neurolictor. See, I think so I see a lot of Vanguard lists automatically run 3 Lictors and 3 Neurolictors. However, I think actually the 2-2 split is pretty good. You have 2 Lictors and 2 Neurolictors. I think that's fine, you know? And then you also have Deathleaper to do some shenanigans too. I think that's a pretty good mix, in my opinion. Then we have 2 3-man Ravners. Pretty sweet. And then we have 2 6-man Tyranid Warriors and then 2 Horror Spexes. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I like this list. I actually really, really do like this list. I there's a couple of changes that I think go to my mind immediately. Um, However, I personally, who is this Chaos? Chaos, I definitely think you should test this list and feel out where the Harspexes are. We were just talking about it before. I think Harspexes are good. However, with Vanguard Onslaught, the only thing that they're really going to get is fall back and charge. That's kind of it. So I don't necessarily think that this is the best attachment for them. However, I do think that they were a gross unit to just throw in somebody's face, and they're gonna have a bad time with it. Who knows? However, for sure think that having a shooting threat of some kind is of utmost importance in Vanguard Onslaught. So if I were to go and really just kind of go off of my gut, I'm going to cut the Harspecs, and I'm going to, let's try, I think 6-man Zoans. So that would be 250 points. So this would be, we would have 50 points left over. 50 points left over to kind of do whatever we want. The other thing that I want to consider is, are we happy with 2 6-man Tyranid Warriors? From my experience, the Tyranid Warriors are kind of tough. They just don't quite fit. Like, you can rapid ingress them and maybe get into certain spots. But here's what I would probably do. What they're 235, and how much is, and the Gene Stealer brick is, okay, so let's do this. We're going to cut a 6-man Tyranid Warrior blob. I'm so sorry. And then we're going to cut the Winged Prime as well. And what we will do with this, in my opinion, for right now, what I'm feeling is a 3rd Broodlord Gene Stealer brick. I think you just kind of slam them like that. I just think they're really, really good. They do everything that this detachment wants to do, and they're absolutely a blender. And that leaves us with 55 points. So something, oh, he's at 1995, so that's a clean 60 points. So if we wanted to wrap it up quickly, we could just do a 3rd Lictor. And I know I said all those things about you don't need a 3rd Lictor, but if you have a 3rd Lictor, then it's actually really nice because you can forward deploy 2 of them, and then you can rapid ingress 1 and another time to do some secondaries. So that's kind of where I'm leaning with this list. Again, though, Chaos, I definitely think you should try out the Harspexes and kind of tell us what you think. Also, another thing that could be cool, you cut the Harspexes for a Winged Hive Tyrant. I do think that is something that you might be missing, but I definitely would go to 1 Warrior Brick and triple Gene Stealers. That's kind of where I'm leaning. All right, everybody. This was great. This was a great stream. Thank you so much for the support. I've really been having a great time, and I'm still kind of shocked with the amount of success and support we've been getting with all the Tyranid content. But I promise you, I'm going to do it every single week if I don't have a crazy schedule. However, speaking of which, right now, next Monday, we may or may not have a stream. It might either be a quick one, or it might not happen at all. Just I've got a work thing that I might have to do, and it might get in the way of stream. But I'll let everybody know. Like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord. Hang out with us. We're talking about stuff all the time. I've kind of been a little bit away because I've been moving, but anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday. Bye.